Greetings duelists and welcome to another video. So I just came out of a very insane duel and I kind of wanted to show it because this duel for me is like a pretty good definition of the stuff that I kind of want to see this format. Not every duel is the one is ends up like the one I'm about to show you, but like after this duel concludes, you will pretty much understand what I'm talking about. Um, but yeah, so I'm facing against a guy named VNLS. Um, for those who have been around Dueling Book for a good time, or those who like watching DB Grinder videos and like watching people play in online in general, you will pretty much know that this guy is a very like decorative duelist. Like, is if you can see the rating, he has like almost 18,000 rating, which means he has played a lot. Like, you don't get to that kind of rating just playing one or two matches. Like, I barely have 3 times the amount that he has, and I've been playing for a good amount as well. I'm not facing a slouch here. Adding to that, I lost the die roll. But yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through the duel and I'm going to pause some instances um, where I think some plays could have been different. Um, but yeah, as you can see, he's playing Purrely. I am playing Vanquish Soul. You're probably noticing that I'm playing 50 cards. There's an engine in here that you're probably not gonna see for this duel because I didn't draw a single card out of it. But it's something that I was testing out. Outside of those few engine cards that I put in, the main deck is pretty much the same. So you can treat this as pretty much the old Vanquish Soul list that I showed a few days ago. But yeah, let's go over the duel. He starts with Pot of Desires. I immediately Ash Blossom because I don't know what he's playing yet, and just giving him a +1 out of Desires. I just figured if he's playing a deck that involves like adding cards, I have the impulse for that. I also already have my engine established, so I figured Ash was the right play here. Obviously, I get punished. He does talent. He looks my hand. He contemplated on what to send, and then he sent the impulse. So now he can play the Purrely without worrying about impulse. He grabs Sleeping Memory. He activates Street, and then he does Memory, and then he goes. He whiffs, but then he attaches. So I'm kind of perplexed here because you could make the argument he shouldn't have activated the Purrely Street and just like kept the other memory in hand, and that way if he activates Noir and then grabs the other memory, he could have just put the Yeep. Especially since he already saw my hand, he already knows that I don't have any more interruptions. So there's no real value into activating streets outside of just giving him an extra sleeping memory. But I guess the counter argument is that he doesn't have a very strong hand, so he kind of wants to draw into more cards, and he already knows that the sleeping memories are not going to be interrupted, and he has follow up in the off chance that I actually do get rid of his monster. But yeah, I still think that keeping the pretty memory and using it to make it so you can activate Noir, it might be more valuable than the extra draw out of Purrely Street. But that's just my opinion. He activates the street, he puts in the end phase, he draws 2, he drew into more engine. I activate Mad Love into Borger, I draw, I activate the Rosin, I grab Caesar, and then I do that, I activate that, I grab Continue, and I'm banking on him not having any cards in hand, so I just go for Zeus. So I went for Zeus because I already have Continue, as follow up. And worst case scenario, I have Small World, so I can swap the Caesar into another card. Um, there is one misplay I make here. So in hindsight, I should have set Dust Devil. I kind of just wanted to keep the Dust Devil in hand because I thought that maybe just having the most amount of resources as possible was ideal. I didn't think about Imperm or Book of Moon as potential like draws that he could have had. Um, so that was pretty much a misplay on my end, and it's gonna make this game a lot more difficult. He activates Imperm. Now he can be uninterrupted. He activates my friend. He does pretty, delicious, and pretty. I hit the delicious, which again just makes this game even more scrutineous than it could have been. Like, if I would have just set the Dust Devil, he pretty much didn't have anything else. And that pretty much would have been the end of the game. But since that didn't happen, now we have to do another plan. So he activates the Pretty Memory. At this instance, I don't know that he has Jeep in hand. So I immediately flip continue because the last thing I want is for this plump to trigger and get the Pretty Memory. And if that happens, he can then Pretty Memory, attach the Zeus, end on like 6 materials, and then just have a big fat Noir. So he goes for Pure Lily. He discards the Jeep. He goes, does my friend. And if I'm not mistaken, yeah, he has one Purity Memory as material, so he can still do the Nor play. I activate Caesar and I activate Panthera. The reason I do all of this is because I already know that he can do Pure Lily and do Sleepy Memory. And that will make it so he can tag into Beauty, and then Beauty would have made it so I couldn't protect the Caesar. So I just immediately went for the Caesar play because I figured if he's going to out my board, I at least have Caesar, and he cannot do anything about it. So he does Nor. He tries to bounce. I pretty much bring up to him that he's unaffected. He crashes. He does my friend. He does plump. I can no longer interrupt that. So now the plump has extra materials, and he ends up on Nor with 6 materials anyway. I can't Dust Devil because he's unaffected. He activates. He drew into Droll, which kind of also makes this game a little bit hectic. But then I just do Small World, and just banish the Impulse Fire Attacker into the Kurikara. In hindsight, I could have kept Impulse, but I kind of wanted to keep as many Vanquish Souls because I had the Dust Devil, and I kind of wanted to play for his next turn. And that's something really important about like this format compared to other formats in the past. In the past, you would just think about how can you out the cards in the board at the moment, but now we're getting to a point where we can easily just pick apart boards turn after turn. So you have to think about the following turn as your potential option. So I grab Kurikara. He does Noir. I chain the Caesar. He does Noir again. There's no point in him not wasting it. He already knows I have Kurikara. So my friend Purrely grabs 3 materials. I'm on the draw, so I can't do Rasen. So I just poke for 48. I do Rock, grab Rasen, and I set. And I use Kurikara to grab Plump. And then he does Yeep to spin back his purities. So my reasoning behind taking Plump is that not many people play more than 1 Plump. So since he already grabbed Delicious Memory back to hand with my friend, he has access to Plump if he were to return it with Yeep. But the fact that he let it go and he resolved the Yeep kind of pretty much tells me that he probably already has a second Plump, or he just thinking of another play like summoning Nor, and with Nor bouncing back the Plump. But yeah, He does Pretty Memory. He does Purely. I chain the Rock. I do Rosin for Heavy Burger. Um, he talents. I immediately does Devil because this instance I don't know if he wants to grab the Vanquish Soul or not. And if he grabs the Vanquish Soul, I no longer have any interruptions. Um, so he grabs the Plump. He attaches double Pretty Memory. He does Pretty Memory effect. He does Delicious Memory. I chain Heavy Burger. That way he doesn't tag out. Uh, he does Delicious Memory. And there he reveals the second Plump, which I didn't see coming. He now does the Plump effect. Plump effect attaches 2. And then he does Plump. And he does the second Pretty Memory. At this instance, I didn't realize the Pretty Memory isn't once per turn. I chain Heavy Burger, revealing 2 to burn him for 15. He attacks into the Rock. He then attacks with the Plump. He has to make Zeus here because this Plump was made with talents, and this Plump does not have 5 materials, so he cannot make Nor with any of them. I draw for turn. I draw into Pluton. He draws out of Plump because he has multiple sleeping memories. I do Panthera. I summon Rock. Grab the Heavy Burger. I do Rosin. He immediately Zeus. You could make the argument that I could have just not activated Rosin to like add and just do Rosin to like have him send, but I just valued the hand advantage. Like I just valued the grind game a lot more because in the off chance he does actually have follow up, I only have like Heavy Burger and Pluton, and I don't have anything else. And this is my third rock of the Vanquisher, so after this rock is gone, I don't have any more rocks in order to just keep securing the grind game. I chained the Heavy Burger, realizing that, and he lets it go through, so I keep Rosin in hand, and I summon the Caesar. He does Purrely, he summons Beauty, and then he attacks with Beauty and Zeus. I try to Pluton, he lets it go through, I do Caesar, and this is a misplay on my end, but it's also a misplay on his end as well. So I kind of risked summoning Caesar because if he had any other card that was not Purrely, he could have set it and just used the Beauty to grab it. However, my reasoning was if he does that, he's literally on nothing except the Zeus. And like the Beauty as interruption. So I pretty much put him on what is his most valuable resource between the Zeus or the Beauty by summoning Caesar, because he cannot crash the Caesar with the Zeus because they both are 3k. He doesn't. He already knows about Pluton and Rosin, so he could easily just get rid of this. So he opts for Zeus, which I don't think is an incorrect play. I draw for turn. I draw Ghost Bell. I summon Rosin. He changed the Zeus. I draw into Heavy Burger. So now he draws. He does Purrely. Purrely grabs that. So now he tries to Purrely. On resolution, he grabs the sleeping memory. And something I did not realize, and he didn't realize either, is that both Noirs are already engraved. So grabbing sleeping memory literally does nothing because the Purrely cannot tag out. However, I don't have an out to the Zeus. I don't have an out to the Zeus outside of and I don't think I was going to draw an out for Zeus the next turn. So I do Heavy Burger, I burn for 2k, and I scooped. He then tells me that he didn't have an extra Noir to tag out the Purrely. So whether or not this could have been my game, it really depended on the draw. But as of right now, he was pretty much in a winning position. So now I go first. I draw into Retaliating. I fire attacker, he ashes, and I pass. I pretty much have no other play. He then does my friend Purrely. He does Purrely, grab my friend Purrely. He then activates Sleeping Mirror, and I chain Retaliating Sea. He commits, and then I summon Contact Sea. I pretty much tell him that I bricked, and he does not have an out to the Contact Sea. So when Purrely first like came out, people were playing Donner, and Donner was like their out to Contact Sea because like back then you had more flexible extra X options. Now people opt for like summoning like Azalea, because Azalea is easy to summon because all the Purrely monsters are light and dark. Once Age of Overlord comes out, Contact Sea is not going to be as super effective because of the existence of SP Little Knight. That card is probably going to be in everybody's extra deck, like right after that. But yeah, so I summon Mad Love, I grab, and then he scoops. He pretty much doesn't have an out to like the Contact Sea, and I already have Engine. So he goes first. He activates my friend. He grabs the Purrely. The Purrely grabs him nothing. He whiffed. He does Sleeping Memory. He summons Lily. Lily grabs Jeep. Lily attaches the Sleepy. He sets 2 and he passes, and then he puts in the second Sleeping Memory. I sadly have no way of stopping this, so he pretty much has 4 draws. Adding to that, he also has Drolling Lockbird, and he has Ancient Organism, which is a debatable card against this deck. But I do play Heavy Burger and the Caesar, and those are 2 high level monsters, so it kind of makes sense why he's playing it. I summon Mad Love, I continue. He does Droll. I do Heavy Burger. He changed that. So here I summon Rock the Vanquisher. So I activate Parallel Exceed. So he knows I have continue. So he doesn't care about the Rock the Vanquisher. But in hindsight, he should have not let the Parallel Exceed go through. I do still have my normal summon, and I do have like continue, and I do have Dust Devil to like stop the Noir altogether. However, he lets the Parallel Exceed go through, and that's going to be bad for him because I didn't summon Beguska. He didn't see that. He didn't see this coming, and I don't blame him for that. So now what's gonna happen is I go battle phase. I attack with the Baguska. He does Noir. So I technically did a misplay. I should have chained the Rock to just grab back Heavy Burger. But it pretty much doesn't matter. It kind of does matter because he does have Imperm, but it won't matter like in the long run. So I do Zeus. He changed the Noir. I do continue. I summon Heavy Burger. I summon the Mad Love into Rock. Grab the Mad Love. He could have punished me with Imperm on the spot if he wanted, but he didn't. He already knows that I'm on the Droll, so this Heavy Burger is not doing its job, and I can just grab Dr. Mad Love next turn. So draw phase. He immediately imperms the Rock, which is another reason why you can keep Imperm. It takes Rock away as a potential interruption, so he now only has to worry about the set card. Unfortunately for him, the set card is Dust Devil, and he doesn't really have a way into pushing through this card. So fast forward, Heavy Burger, I revealed the Mad Love, I drew into Rhoda. He does Purrely, he whiffs, and then he activates my friend. He grabs Purrely, he does Purrely effect. He grabs the Yeep. He tries to tag out. I chain the Dust Devil, and Mad Love summoned and this game. I asked him why he didn't attack the rock. He kind of forgot that it was impermed. It was kind of a long duel. Like this duel lasted a long while, like around 70 minutes. So you can tell this was a very very hefty match. But yeah, I pretty much go attack, attack. Main phase 2, I wrote up for Impulse for whatever follow up that he has, and I Phoenix to blow up my friend. He sets, he drew talents. I summon Pluton. Well, I tried to summon Pluton, but I can't because I have a Vanquish, and that's game. Um, Very long duel. Very very back and forth. Um, if you got lost in some moment during the duel, you can pause it and just look at the hands, look at look at the draws. There might have been like one or two misplays on my end. Like the two misplays on game one really costed me game one. But it kind of made this game kind of enjoyable. I don't mind like losing to misplays like that because at the end of the day, my opponent was a good sport. That's one thing that's really important to note about this game. Another really important thing is that like duels like these are not duels that you see every day. Like duels with a lot of back and forth, duels that like predicate to the grind game. A lot of games can be just decided by what cards they open with. But as far as this format goes, I've had a couple of duels like this one as well. And for me, this is like what Yugi is all about. Like, right now, the better decks of the format are decks that realistically, if you have enough player knowledge and you play the right cards, you pretty much have like a good grasp of what people are playing, and you can just side and main your deck accordingly. Like a lot of people don't like Vanquish Soul. I think Vanquish Soul, some people think that it's kind of a mid deck, but after this duel, like, it kind of goes to show you that like the Purrely matchup is not unwinnable. Like it's not super at their favor. It's pretty much more like who draws the better cards. But yeah, I hope you found this duel entertaining. I hope you found this very very informative. Uh, Whenever I get duels like these, I just love recording them because these duels are very fun to see. I love the back and forth. I love like how there's a grind game. There's like an exhaustion for resources. I don't. Some decks are ill designed and that just end the duel like on the spot. But sometimes you have duels like these where even though there are unfair mechanics in some decks, like there could be a lot of back and forth, and and the decks are very very interactive. But yeah, keep practicing and keep doing.